Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Bold and beautiful today. No, it can't be her. Finn and Steffy burst into tears as they saw the dead body. She is. At the beach house, a violent scene breaks out, and Liam seems to enter the spotlight. Sheila, who is conscious but has blood on her shoe, is kneeling next to Steffy. Steffy shouts, "You shot your grandmother," at Luna. She says she's going to call for assistance. She is told to put down the phone by Luna, who points the gun at her. She accuses Steffy of being solely to blame. "You are to blame for this." Finn hears Sheila's voicemail. Lee informs Finn in his office that Luna wasn't a nasty person from birth. He is the sweetest person Sheila has ever met and shares her blood. All of it is Poppy's bad parenting. She feels a great deal of sympathy for her because she was a hazardous youngster. Finn is certain that she will one day use that on someone else. He is unable to have her close to his family when she does. Lee worries that Finn is correct on Luna. She must run after receiving a message. She says to Finn, "I love you, son." He appreciates the conversation. When he's by himself, Finn frowns and grabs his phone. To check in and find out what the teacher wants to discuss with Steffy, he texts her. He then chooses to hear Sheila's message, in which she states that she needs to speak with him regarding Luna. "Just give me a call, please." Hope is unable to let go. Liam is outside the cliff house at Forrester, and Hope is on the phone with him. He makes fun of her for checking in on him, but he also expresses his happiness. Hope despises his circumstances. She is genuinely afraid of losing him. Hope believes she needs to confront reality in order to be strong for Beth, but Carter assures her that it's acceptable for her to remain in the denial stage for as long as she needs to. Carter promises that they will work together to assist her. He is aware that she isn't prepared to part ways. "How can I ever be?" asks Hope. She talks endlessly about how memories are fleeting. Carter believes that rather than focusing on what he will miss, Liam would prefer that she remember their time spent with Beth. Hope contends that he ought to be allowed to hold his grandson or escort his daughter down the aisle. Carter is very apologetic. They all need more time. Hope finds it amazing that despite death, Liam is concerned about everyone else and watches out for Beth, Steffy, Kelly, and herself. She thinks that he would do everything for his family. He would do everything in his power to protect them. The worst aspect, according to Hope, is not knowing when things will change. She is aware that Liam has no control over this. She fervently hopes that he will stay with them for as long as he can and that they won't lose him. The sixth sense of Finn. Finn hears the remainder of Sheila's voicemail at his office. She promises to exercise caution and cautions him not to disregard Luna's rage towards Steffy. She doesn't answer when he phones her. His phone rings all of a sudden. Liam is the one who hasn't been able to get in touch with Steffy. Finn informs him of Sheila's telegram alerting him of Luna's presence. He says that he senses that something is wrong. Liam volunteers to go after learning that Steffy is at the beach house. He is nearer. "Just get there," says Finn to him. "I'm concerned about my spouse." A scene of blood emerges. Sheila urges Luna to allow Steffy to call for assistance at the beach house school. The fact that her grandma was shot in the foot is laughed at by Luna. She is not going to die, really. She has no faith in either of them. She lashes out at Steffy for attempting to remove them from Finn's life. She has treated her so cruelly. What if Ridge was out of her line of sight? She did things that Steffy did not do. Luna is constantly talking about how Finn was deprived of his daughter and the good impact he could have made on her. She can't even be with him anymore. That makes Steffy feel horrible. However, the offenses you have committed. All Luna needs is a small amount of access. That is all I'm requesting. Asking, says Steffy. In possession of a firearm. Luna is told to put down the rifle by Sheila. Luna claims that her only goal is to attract Steffy's attention. Steffy claims to have it. According to Luna, she never intended to cause harm to anyone. She shot her grandmother, Steffy notes. There is no justification for the crimes she has perpetrated. She's sorry for her. She might have been different if Finn had been in her life, but she will never feel secure in her presence. You will be incarcerated for a very long time. No, I am not, says Luna, shaking her head. Will wore the wire to demonstrate his intent, and she enticed her there, so Steffy advises Luna to confront reality. Luna lifts the rifle to shoot at Steffy's head after realizing she will never see her father again. Liam bursts in the door at that moment. He tries to wrestle the rifle away from Luna as he jumps toward her. There's a gunshot. Liam, cries Steffy. Steffy approaches Liam, who has a blood smear on his shirt and is trembling. This is all your fault. Luna yells at Steffy while brandishing the gun. Sheila distracts her granddaughter by grabbing a basket of crayons and knocking it off the table. Liam gets the gun and rallies to throw himself at Luna. Luna chuckles, all right. You will be the one to prevent me from doing so? She implies that he lacks the courage to fire the trigger and is a coward. I'm a dead man anyway, Liam gulps, and shoots Luna as she rushes at him. Liam drops the gun and collapses as she hits the ground. After arriving and witnessing the horrific scene, Finn exclaims, did Sheila? No, it was Luna, according to Steffy. Sheila tells Finn to assist Liam and that she is fine. As Finn kneels next to Liam, Steffy dials 911. Steffy, safe, Liam exclaims, before disappearing into the light. Liam detests thinking about the punishment he received. He just has to hold on as long as he can. I hope it lasts a long time. Liam assures her that he will not be leaving anytime soon. Hope sobs that she's struggling every day and wonders when, but I'm still here, Liam says, thanking her for her care. Tomorrow, I'll still be here. As many tomorrows as he can, he will be here. As Carter walks into the office, they break up after discussing his roller skating with Beth in the morning. As Hope tells him that it's difficult to accept Liam's absence, he hugs her into his arms. Before Finn rushes in, injured Liam shoots at Luna. John Finn Finnegan hurried in after Liam Spencer shot at Luna Nozawa and shielded Steffy Forrester. Sheila Sharp was wounded in the foot and fell to the ground at the beach home. Although Steffy was horrified by Luna shooting her own grandma, Luna pretended that there were no significant injuries and placed the blame all on Steffy. Steffy said that perhaps things might have turned out differently if Finn had supported Luna during her childhood, but she was unable to ignore Luna's transgressions and foresaw her return to prison. When Luna realized she would never fit in with Finn's life, she sobbed and yelled at Steffy while pointing the gun at her. Hope Logan called to see how Liam was doing, and Liam talked to her on the phone. That allowed Liam to tell Hope that he hoped for many more tomorrows and that he would be going roller skating with Beth Spencer the following day. As Hope battled Liam's illness and the prospect of losing him, Carter Walton consoled her following that phone call. Lee Finnegan insisted that Luna wasn't born nasty in Finn's office during Tuesday's B&B episode. Although Finn reminded Lee that Luna shared Sheila's DNA, Lee pointed out that Finn also had Sheila's DNA and ended up being a kind person. Lee expressed a little more sympathy for Luna before returning to her work because she still believed Poppy Nozawa was responsible for Luna's misdirection. When Finn had some alone time, he texted Steffy to inquire about the status of his meeting with Hayes Forrester's art teacher. Finn felt uneasy since Steffy didn't answer. After that, Finn listened to a few of Sheila's voicemails and could tell she was worried about something involving Luna. Finn could sense that something was wrong and gave Sheila updates on her concerns during a phone conversation with Liam. Since Steffy was closer than Finn, Liam made the decision to go see how he was doing at the beach house. In the end, Liam dashed through the door and sprang for the gun Luna was carrying on Steffy. The pistol went off, and Liam was shot in the chest during another struggle. Luna said she didn't mean to shoot Liam, but Steffy freaked out when she rushed to his aid. Sheila knocked some painting supplies on the floor to divert Luna's attention from Steffy, who Luna still blamed for everything. That allowed Liam to stutter over and seize the rifle, but Luna found it absurd that he would attempt to stop her when he was hardly able to stand. Although Luna believed Liam was too afraid to shoot, he implied that he was already dead. Liam fired a shot as Luna sprang forward, causing her to collapse with an abdominal gunshot wound. Soon later, Finn arrived and witnessed the tumultuous scene with the bloodied victims on the ground. Steffy maintained that Luna was to blame, despite Finn's fleeting suspicion that Sheila was behind it all. As Steffy dialed 911, Finn bent down to assist Liam after Sheila urged him to do so. Liam also passed out and appeared to enter the light, while Luna lay comatose close by. Steffy Forrester's beach house shattered under the weight of escalating dread and spilled blood, culminating in a confrontation so visceral it stained the very air with panic and grief, a stark counterpoint to Finn's sterile office where paternal anxieties swirled and Hope's quiet despair echoed through Forrester creations as she grappled with the impending, unthinkable loss of Liam, a man whose final, selfless act would tragically fulfill the doom she feared yet defy it in a blaze of desperate heroism. Kneeling beside a conscious but wounded Sheila Carter, whose blood ominously smeared her own shoe, Steffy's voice ripped through the tense silence, accusing Luna, Sheila's granddaughter, who stood trembling yet resolute with a gun aimed squarely at her, "You shot your grandmother." A declaration that spurred Steffy to reach for her phone and summon help, only to be halted by Luna's sharp command to drop it, the younger woman's voice cracking with a venomous conviction as she laid the blame entirely at Steffy's feet, hissing, "This happened because of you." Meanwhile, miles away in his medical office, Finn wrestled with his own familial turmoil, listening to Lee Finnegan's attempts to absolve Luna of inherent evil by blaming Poppy's poor parenting and tragic childhood, painting Luna as a victim destined to unleash her inherited danger. Finn, however, remained grimly unconvinced, his protective instincts screaming that Luna's volatility posed an unacceptable threat to his family, a conviction chillingly underscored moments after Lee departed with a loving farewell when Finn, frowning at his phone, finally listened to Sheila's frantic, previously ignored voicemail, a message pleading for him to call her urgently about Luna and explicitly warning him not to ignore Luna's seething anger towards Steffy, compelling him to promise to be careful, a message that ignited a primal fear in Finn's gut, a sixth sense screaming that something was catastrophically wrong, prompting him to first text Steffy about her meeting with Luna's teacher and then desperately try calling Sheila, only to get no answer, his escalating panic then interrupted by a call from Liam Spencer, who was himself frantically trying to reach Steffy. Finn, his voice tight with dread, shared Sheila's ominous warning about Luna, declaring, "Something's not right. I can feel it," and learning Steffy was at the beach house, Liam, closer and already burdened by his own terminal prognosis but driven by an unshakable loyalty, immediately volunteered to go, Finn's urgent plea, "Just get there. I'm worried about my wife," echoing in Liam's ears as he raced towards the unfolding nightmare. Back at the beach house, the standoff reached fever pitch. Sheila, grimacing in pain from the gunshot wound to her foot, pleaded with Luna to allow Steffy to call for help, but Luna, derisive and distrustful, dismissed her grandmother's injury as non-fatal, launching into a furious tirade against Steffy's perceived cruelty in cutting her and Sheila out of Finn's life, comparing it to denying Steffy access to Ridge, venomously listing Steffy's alleged crimes, denying Finn his daughter and Luna the chance to be with her father, while demanding only a little access, a demand Steffy countered with cold realism, pointing to the gun in Luna's hand and stating unequivocally that Luna's past and present crimes were inexcusable, expressing a sliver of pity for the life Luna might have had with Finn's influence but concluding with chilling finality, "You're going to prison for a very long time." This verdict shattered Luna's fragile control, faced with the reality of Will's wire proving her intent and Steffy's unwavering stance. Luna's despair curdled into homicidal rage as she realized she would never know her father, her hand trembling as she raised the gun, aiming it directly at Steffy's head, a moment frozen in horrific silence before the sudden, violent shattering of the door as Liam burst through, his own mortality forgotten in the face of Steffy's peril. With a surge of adrenaline, he lunged at Luna, grappling desperately for the weapon, the chaotic struggle punctuated by a deafening gunshot that ripped through the room, followed instantly by Steffy's anguished scream. Liam, as he staggered back, shock registering on his face, a rapidly spreading crimson stain blossoming on his shirt. As Steffy scrambled towards her wounded ex-husband, Luna, unhinged and shrieking, "This is all your fault," redirected the gun towards her, only to be momentarily distracted by Sheila's desperate act, knocking over a basket of crayons. This split-second diversion was all Liam needed, rallying his fading strength to launch one final, decisive lunge, wrenching the gun from Luna's grasp. Luna, defiant even in defeat, sneered at Liam's perceived cowardice, taunting, "Okay. You're going to be the one to stop me? You don't have the guts to pull the trigger." Liam, staring into the abyss of his own terminal fate, met her gaze with a terrifying resolve, his voice a raw whisper echoing the painful conversation he'd just had with Hope about his limited tomorrows. "I'm a dead man anyway," and as Luna recklessly lunged towards him, he pulled the trigger. The shot echoed, Luna crumpled to the floor, and Liam, the gun slipping from his fingers, collapsed beside her just as Finn finally arrived, his horrified eyes taking in the carnage, Sheila bleeding. Luna down, Liam shot, his immediate, gut-wrenching assumption leaping to Sheila's notorious past, crying out, "Did Sheila?" Only for Steffy, amidst the chaos, to correct him with devastating clarity, "No, it was Luna." Sheila, pushing aside her own pain, urged Finn towards Liam. "Help Liam." As Steffy frantically dialed 911, Finn dropped to his knees beside the man who had saved his wife, the man whose time Hope had been so desperately trying to hold on to just moments before. Liam's eyes, clouded with pain but filled with an unspoken depth of feeling, found Steffy, and with his last vestige of breath, gasping out the only thing that mattered in his final, sacrificial act, Steffy, safe, he achieved the ultimate protection for someone he had always loved, his gaze seeming to fix on something beyond the bloody beach house walls, a profound peace settling over his features before his body stilled. Liam Spencer, who had assured Hope he'd be there for roller skating tomorrows, who had hated the sentence handed to him but vowed to hang on, appeared to surrender not just to his wound, but to the inevitable, stepping finally into the light he had so courageously faced, leaving behind a tableau of shattered lives, irrevocable loss, and the haunting echo of Hope's earlier, prophetic despair. "How can I ever be ready to say goodbye?" The crimson tide receded only to reveal an ocean of sorrow. The air in Steffy Forrester's beach house, usually a sanctuary of salt spray and serenity, curdled into a suffocating miasma of panic, betrayal, and the metallic tang of imminent violence, a pressure cooker where Luna Nozawa's fractured psyche finally shattered under the unbearable weight of rejection and perceived injustice, her trembling hand leveling the gun at Steffy, the woman she saw as the architect of her ruin, the immovable obstacle blocking her desperate, delusional path to a place in Dr. John Finn Finnegan's life, a place she now knew, with devastating clarity amid her tears and fuming rage, she would never occupy, not after Steffy's unflinching indictment of her crimes and the cold, inescapable prediction of a prison cell replacing any dream of familial acceptance. Steffy, reeling moments earlier from the surreal horror of witnessing Luna shoot her own grandmother, Sheila Sharp, who now lay groaning on the floor, clutching her bleeding foot, a grotesque tableau of generational violence, had acknowledged, with a flicker of painful empathy cutting through her fury, that perhaps Luna's trajectory could have been different if Finn, her biological father, had been present during her formative years, a haunting what-if hanging in the charged silence, yet this fragile thread of understanding snapped instantly under the weight of Luna's heinous actions, the kidnapping, the manipulation, the sheer danger she embodied, forcing Steffy to stand firm, her voice steeled by a mother's protective instinct and a wife's righteous anger, declaring Luna's inevitable return to prison as the only logical, just conclusion, words that acted like gasoline on the pyre of Luna's despair, igniting a final, catastrophic explosion of resentment. Luna's tears, moments before marking a broken child's grief, transformed into the furious fuel of a cornered predator, the gun wavering only slightly as she fixated on Steffy, blaming her entirely for the desolation of her existence, for the loss of Finn, for the unraveling of her world, her accusations a desperate, distorted narrative where Steffy was the sole villain. Meanwhile, an ocean away yet terrifyingly connected by the fragile thread of a phone line, Liam Spencer, recovering from his own recent ordeal, spoke softly to Hope Logan, her voice laced with palpable concern as she checked on him. This mundane, tender connection became a poignant counterpoint to the unfolding nightmare at the beach house, a lifeline to normalcy as Liam, unaware of the maelstrom descending upon Steffy, reassured Hope of his hopes for many more tomorrows and confirmed, with a warmth that felt achingly fragile, his promise to take their daughter Beth roller skating the very next day, a promise echoing with heartbreaking normalcy against the impending violence, a testament to the life he desperately wanted to return to. In the aftermath of that call, Hope, grappling with the visceral fear of potentially losing Liam, found solace in the steadying presence of Carter Walton, His quiet strength a temporary bulwark against the tidal wave of anxiety threatening to overwhelm her. Simultaneously, in the sterile calm of Finn's office, a different kind of tension simmered as Lee Finnegan, grappling with the monstrous reality Luna had become, clung to a thread of biological determinism laced with pity, insisting to Finn that Luna wasn't born bad, a statement met with Finn's grim reminder of the volatile DNA Luna shared with Sheila. Lee, ever pragmatic yet fiercely protective of her son, countered pointedly that Finn carried that same notorious genetic legacy yet had emerged as a beacon of goodness, shifting the blame instead onto Poppy Nozawa for leading Luna astray, her pity for Luna a complex, grudging acknowledgement of corrupted potential before she retreated into the clinical focus of her work. Alone, Finn's professional facade cracked, unsettled by Steffi's uncharacteristic silence regarding an update on Hayes's art teacher, a mundane inquiry now freighted with unease. He reached for his phone, scrolling through the frantic, increasingly desperate voicemails left by Sheila, messages imbued not with her usual menace, but with a raw, panicked concern specifically about Luna. Listening, Finn felt the first cold tendrils of dread coil in his stomach. Something was profoundly wrong. His subsequent phone call to Liam crackled with this shared, unspoken tension. Finn relayed Sheila's alarming worries, his voice tight, and Liam, picking up on Finn's distress and sensing the palpable wrongness radiating even over the line, made a split-second decision. He was closer to the beach house than Finn. He would go immediately. The drive was a blur, a race against an unseen, terrifying clock. Bursting through the beach house door, Liam was met by a scene ripped from a nightmare. Steffy cornered, Luna wild-eyed and armed, Sheila bleeding on the floor. Instinct, honed by a lifetime of protecting those he loved, especially Steffy, despite their complex history, overrode any sense of self-preservation. With a guttural cry, Liam didn't hesitate. He lunged, a desperate human shield diving towards Luna and the lethal focus of her rage, the gun pointed squarely at Steffi's heart. What followed was a chaotic, horrifying ballet of grappling limbs and desperate shouts. Steffi screamed Liam's name, a sound torn from her soul. Luna shrieked, a feral mix of fury and shock at the sudden intervention. The gun, caught in the violent struggle, erupted. The deafening report was followed by a sickening thud and Liam's choked gasp as he crumpled, clutching his chest, crimson rapidly blooming across his shirt. Steffi's world narrowed to that horrifying blossom of red, her primal scream echoing off the walls as she scrambled towards him, her hands fluttering uselessly, desperately seeking the source of the bleeding, her voice a ragged plea. Liam. No. Hold on, please hold on. Luna, momentarily frozen by the horrific consequence of her actions, stammered denials. I didn't mean to. It wasn't me. But the veneer of victimhood shattered almost instantly as she redirected her venom back at Steffi, blaming her for forcing this, for making her pull the trigger, her voice shrill with self-justifying hysteria. It was Sheila, writhing in pain on the floor, who inadvertently altered the deadly calculus. With a pained grunt, she knocked over a nearby stand laden with Hayes's art supplies, jars of paint, brushes, sketch pads clattering loudly to the floor in a sudden, distracting cascade of color and noise. That split-second diversion was all Liam, drawing on reserves of strength fueled by adrenaline, love, and sheer, stubborn will to protect Steffi, needed. Gasping, blood bubbling at his lips, he staggered to his feet, a horrifying specter of determination painted in his own lifeblood, and lunged again, this time towards the gun Luna still clutched.